Okay, guys. So, Matt knows, before I get into the main little specific thing, I have started watching a show on HBO Max called The Pit, and it stars Noah Wiley, and
From
it is based in an emergency room. So he's continued his trend of doing that. Oh my God, so exciting! I would recommend it to everybody if you like medical shows. It's a really great show. It seems very real. Most reviews say it is pretty much exactly, even more so than ER was at the time, of the realistic nature of what the ER is. And let me tell you guys, it is pretty graphic. It like shows you things. And last week's episode, I mean, this wasn't real life, but it is what it would look like in that a woman giving birth to a baby. So most medical shows in the past, like you just see the doctor under like a sheet, whatever. Girl, no. On this show, Matt, we get a point of view of that baby's head coming out.
It's
So
interesting when people will watch these shows and be like, I could never do that. I'm like, well, sometimes shit needs done, and you're like, oh crap, got to do it. I'm not an ER nurse. That's not where I wanted. I thought about going there, and I'm like, I don't think I can do it. I don't I don't want to be an ER nurse anymore. But woo, yeah. Well, Cody watches that, and we also watch 911.
yes, so 911 guys. Um, there's a lot going on. So the most recent episode, first of all, it was a two-part episode, and the first part ended. Well, no, not the first part ended actually. Uh, it the second part ended, and I thought we were gonna lose somebody, Matt.
I did too.
Maddie, guys, and I mean, first
Poor
of all, I was
Matty.
like,
He has
I
had
was
a
like,
rough run on this show.
first of all, they love giving a rough life to Maddie and Buck. Both of them have like struggled.
Yeah,
But
Buck's
Maddie,
grown up
guys,
so much.
I almost died because spoiler, guys, but I'll put the information here, but don't keep listening if you've not watched the episode. But
Right.
uh slit her throat out of nowhere, and I was freaking out. I was like, how did they hide this? How did they hide this?
Yeah, the last part of the season, I am like, oh God. And then Eddie has left and Buck moved into his house. And I'm like, are we getting are we setting up for Buddy? Oh my God, are we setting up for Buddy? And I need this.
It's so close, guys. I feel like we're gonna get
We've
there.
been wanting this since season 2.
Guys, if you go back far enough in our episodes, you know that I talked about 911 early on a lot. And Matt was, at the initial time, Matt was like, why are you watching these shows? Because I watched 911, medical type, the doctor show where it's the young doctor,
And
the
911
artistic
Lone Star.
doctor. And do what?
And Lone Star. You
And
watched
Lone
911
Star.
Lone Star,
And I
which
watched
was
all these shows. And he
not.
was like, why are you watching these?
Because
Because
Cody gets really stressed out about medical issues. And
medical
I'm like, this
anxiety.
is giving you ideas. Justin and I are never going to get any sleep.
Because it's not me like looking up a medical condition. I'm seeing the medical conditions and I'm like, oh my God, well, maybe.
What,
I've since
oh my God,
passed medical
maybe I was
anxiety.
hit by a bike or hit by a car. Oh, that's what's wrong with me. I was hit by a car.
But yeah, so we believe that the next episode is going to be like Buck focused a little bit. There is some pictures of that Buck is with Athena out in the field together. So we're not really sure what's going on there. That's kind of weird, that they would be together. Then we believe the next episode after that is going to be Eddie centric episode. So we might see some things going on there. And then coming up, I think maybe after that, that's 13, 12, and 13. I think 14 and 15 episodes, or 15 and 16 episodes, is going to be another two-parter episode arc. So there's going to be a cliffhanger again. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. And then what is the son's name? I went blank just now. Chris. That actor doesn't live in LA anymore. And so they film all of his scenes and then he goes back home. And so yeah, I don't know how they're gonna all like put this together.
Yeah, and I'm like, so Ryan Guzman is not leaving 911. So we know he's coming back, but is Chris coming back with him? Because Chris is also getting older because he has grown up on the show. Like he is actually a child actor with cerebral palsy. He's a fantastic actor, and he is a I think he's a teenager. He's like well into his
Yeah.
teens now. So Eddie has been, you know, dealing with a teenager. So it's like, is he old enough to stay? Like he's been living with his grandparents in El Paso, I believe in El Paso.
Yeah.
And so he's leaving LA for West Texas, which Eddie just did at the end of the scene, at the end of the last episode. So Buck helped him pack up. And I was like, are we going to see some Buck tears? You know, everyone's like, oh my God, oh my God. And then,
Yeah.
well, we have 18 episodes. That was episode 10. So that was 10 part 2. No, that was 10. That was considered 10. So we have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 9 episodes left to see what is going to happen. We don't know if there's going to be a time jump anywhere. We don't know we don't know. And what were you saying that episode 13 hasn't been named yet?
Yeah, so I'm just now looking at that. So yeah, we have episode 12 is gonna, or episode 11 is gonna be the Buck centric episode, we believe. 12 is called Disconnected, and that's the Eddie centric episode. Episode 13 does not currently have a title, and what's interesting about this is that so on ABC you have some other shows that come on the same day, and all of these shows have a particular cadence in releasing titles for episodes, and they usually happen 3 weeks before an episode, and that's just that information is just put out there so it can go to all these aggregating sites that people track TV shows on, and then also they send out some screeners occasionally to reviewers and different things like that. But they have not named episode 13. Meanwhile, they have named episode 13 for previous other shows like Dr. Odyssey, which is on the same day as 911. So that is a little weird. So some people are thinking the episode 13 title is going to have something to do with Buck and Eddie.
I
And
swear,
then, of course,
if we get
after
an episode titled Buddy and we don't get Buddy, people are going to riot.
and after that, 14 and 15, I think, is the two-part episode that are connected. And also, basically what happened in that Buck took over Eddie's house and rent and everything. It part of that storyline is in some fan fiction. There's a whole like fan fiction site that has 911 fan fiction, and they basically took part of someone's fan fiction and made it reality. And so Tim, who is basically the one who is writing this show right now, he has taken bits and pieces of people's fan fiction and now instituting it in what it's basically fan service, and people are enjoying it.
No complaints. Well, so Buck and Matty, the actresses, an actor and actress that play them, have always believed that Buck was not straight. Because when you look at his chemistry with so many different characters, Buck is kind of like very passionate and opinionated and really runs with his feelings. And he's more, and he's always, and there's just been like moments, and Matty apparently has lobbied, or Jennifer Love Hewitt, who plays Matty, has lobbied for this for years to finally get it out in the open. And Buck, Oliver Stark, who plays Buck, has done plenty of interviews where he's saying, this is how I've always played the character, as kind of, you know, little on the rainbow side. He's like, it's just how he seemed to me. You know, when you read his lines and like, oh, what he's supposed to think and feel and what I'm supposed to be portraying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously he's technically Christopher's legal guardian. We knew that from an earlier season where Eddie was shot and Buck rescued him. And it was a big dramatic, very heart stopping, almost literally. And you know, the characters are very close, and it's really interesting to watch it play out. I somebody who, you know, you grew up in a straight world, and then watching it kind of play out on TV, and it's like seeing the representation, and it's interesting watching other people question and not question things. Like other characters are like, yeah, we knew. And that's very real life when you come out, and some people are like, yeah, we've known for like 8 years. And other people are like, they gasp. you know?
Yeah. I think this most recent episode, you saw, I think it's starting to click with Buck. And I think the moment you saw it click with Buck is when they were hugging each other. Um,
Oh, yeah.
that's when it clicked for him. Oh, I
He cannot
like
live
him
without
more
this
than a friend.
he cannot live without this man.
Yeah.
And I don't think Eddie can go too far. I mean, like real in the real world, like whatever something doesn't work out, eventually you move on and go on. But I feel like the Eddie character would eventually choose. Yeah, he's gonna choose his son over Buck every time, and that was quite a passionate argument. And but it's always been known that Buck loves Chris just as much as Eddie does, and Eddie has told him so when he made him his guardian. Like, do you remember the tsunami episode?
Hmm.
Oh my god, my heart. Like, like
Yeah. So I think there this week actually, they Ed, the actor who plays Eddie is on the set, so it's not like he's going to be gone for that long because he's already on the set today. They're doing like pickup shots for episodes. And again, he's going to be probably in the next episode. It'll be Eddie centric. Yeah, I think it's a whole interesting path that they've gone. I think they went down this whole path, especially the whole Texas thing, not planned out. I think that all occurred because the actor who played Chris left LA, and so he could not be easily in a lot of episodes, and so they've had to strategically write the show in a way that they can like film certain episodes
but I
all
think
at
it really
once.
works out. Like
Yeah, I think it
really
worked out.
made Eddie like learn how to be himself again. And I think his parents are terrible. I God, his parents are like the most frustrating type of parents too. And it's a little too real sometimes, and you're like, but it's interesting to see because his parents have tried to wrestle Chris away from him before,
Hmm.
and Eddie could have. I mean, Chris is an adult. Isn't an adult. Eddie could have put his foot down and said, "Absolutely not. I'm not
Yeah,
allowing this." But he did choose to allow it to happen and to not push it. But he did make a good point where he's like, "Just because my son's mad at me doesn't mean I'm going to let him run away from home." But his parents were just asses about it. Like there was this like anything he doesn't have, we'll just buy it for him. Like
yeah,
Eddie was never good enough for him.
yeah.
And it just it was interesting watching that play out. It was very hard. It was very hard to watch. Like it was very, which is how you know it was good because you're just like, oh God, this is hard
Yeah.
to watch.
There are also some rumors that the next episode, or I guess this week's episode, you're gonna have maybe potentially Abby and Tommy back on the show, Buck's exes, in some form. Some people are speculating that they were seen shooting helicopter scenes, and so Tommy's brought into whatever Athena and Buck's situation is, and then Abby, because there's been shots of a television live van being filmed. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that are more crazy than us in like tracking down shooting schedules and like getting
So I
photos
don't do
and
that ever.
video.
I wouldn't want to do that because I want some surprise, you know? Like I want some mystery here. But um like watching I think how interesting would it be for Tommy or Tommy because Abby knew Eddie, right? Like they were
Yeah.
around for a short there was a short window there.
Yeah.
No, she was gone after the first season or the second season. But
She's been back, so he's met her.
how interesting to have them be like, okay, well, you can never be in relationships with us because you've been in love with Eddie for like 6 years.
Yeah.
So we'll either have to resolve that and move on, or something will have to happen because at some point it's interesting the rest of the 118 hasn't been like, so you guys fuck yet?
Oh, and then this week's episode, I think is gonna be really interesting because this is the description. The 118 responds to a call at a mega church where Bobby runs into his estranged mother.
Yeah.
Also, the 118 unexpectedly uncovers hidden secrets at a garden rescue. Buck attempts to expand his social circle in the wake of losing Eddie, and Athena gets called away to assist on a high stakes case on a cruise ship called the Odyssey, because there is the crossover this week, technically, where she's going to be on the Odyssey, Athena. So yeah, I don't know. We're obsessed with 911, not as obsessed as most people, but I think we're gonna like for the rest of the season, we'll have to like do like recaps or like our thoughts on what
Yeah,
we.
I think I
And
just
guys, the finale we'll just have to watch it live, or we'll do a tape thing where we watch it together so we can have the actual reactions. Or if we get a little like heads up that maybe we're gonna get a buddy situation, then maybe we'll have to do
Yeah,
that
we're just
too.
gonna have to sit and watch it together.
Woo.
Ugh.
Okay, guys.
I don't know how I feel about it because I've always had this feeling that not everybody's 100% straight, but there's like this, someone's like, could Eddie date all men and women? I don't think
I don't
so.
think so.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
so.
Buck.
I think he could only love Buck because I mean, I think he's one of those guys that if there wasn't Buck, it could be any other female cast member that
Yep.
they or female that they put in cast for a love interest for him.
Yeah.
But somehow by accident, it just always seems like Buck is,
I don't
Buck
want to
is
get too off the rails here, but I think the Eddie character in particular, and in particular this situation, is more realistic to the world. And when we speak about sexuality and how it's so fluid of like gay, straight, bi, but I think the whole Eddie character is such a real character. And like you could say, okay, he could be technically bi and liking Buck and then also liking women. But I think that character in particular of you just having a connection with somebody, regardless of sex, is actually such a real thing that a lot of men don't allow to happen. But I think if they would, they could potentially find some really strong relationships. I think
right.
that character is
It's not
so
that they
real.
in general could like just go on random dates with men, but that specific guy, this person they have a connection with. Like I had this thing growing up. I just didn't understand anything. So I was like, I just want to be with the right person. And that's all I would say in my head. I remember repeating this to myself when I would have those like, every Valentine's Day would go by, every high school dance that would go by that I wasn't invited to or didn't want to invite or just didn't go and just avoided all of that. Right. I just didn't attend anything. And I was like, I just want to be with the right person. And just kind of, I assumed it was, it didn't occur to me that'd be a guy. And then I got older. I was like, oh, well, that answers a few questions. Just trot off. But most people don't accept that as easily about themselves. It took me a minute, but I would say within a day and a half of saying that out loud to myself, I was like, oh, well, that answers some questions. All right. Well, time to go now. I guess I'm gonna go do gay stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think if people would be more like with the Eddie character or what we believe is going to happen with the Eddie character, if people would just allow themselves to be like that and fall into what they're actually feeling, people would be so much happier and they wouldn't like get stuck in relationships potentially that are just like, I'm in the relationship because I have to be in a relationship kind of situation.
right, or they feel like, oh well, they're perfect, they're for me, and it's like, well, maybe not, and it's I don't know, everybody's so different. That's why it's like, yeah, there's plenty of like girls that have Rebel Wilson married a woman,
Yeah.
like,
Well, guys,
because that's who made her happy.
yeah.
And that's what it should be about. It's who makes you happy that you want to be the person you want to spend all your time with, sex or not. Like sex is not the most important thing.
No, because the majority of the time you're not going to be having sex.
Yeah, right. Well, that is not reality. Most of it is just adult life and the things we do. And who do you want to?
Well, as you said
work with?
if you said previously, Matt, you just wanted to be with somebody where you could just hang out on the couch with your cats, play video games, and just
Yeah, that's
be
because
happy.
most of your life is if you're not at work, you're not always at some social event. Everything is not happening at all the time, every time. When the world stops and nothing's moving anymore, and you're sitting there, who is sitting with you that brings you peace and vice versa?
And in this case,
It's
Buck was always on his couch.
yes. Oh, the couch theory. You know about couch theory. We'll have to talk. That's another episode.
Yeah. So guys, 911 coming out
Was it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, right? The 20th?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it releases on Thursdays. I work
So-
Friday, so I'm like, fuck.
Guys, tomorrow we'll see if we're right and we'll see what happens. Till then, guys, hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you again on another episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to That's a Mouthful. If you loved what you heard today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with all our latest episodes. And we've got more than just episodes. Join us on social media to be part of our vibrant community and keep the conversation going. Follow us, dive into discussions, and share your thoughts. Want to support the show and get some fabulous perks? Check out our Patreon page. Your support helps us bring even more great content and keeps the party going. Every bit helps, and we truly appreciate it. So, until next time, keep that mouthful.